Hello, everyone. Hey. So I am Sue Tiong. So you can just call me Sue. And just to come on YouTube Live. And yeah, this is my first ever public live on YouTube. A client of mine, okay, just a little bit of background there. I am an intuitive medium, I'm a healer. Okay, I channel energy, I heal your heart, your emotions, and to a certain extent, some emotionally or energetic ailments in your body. Actually, all the ailments are caused by energy. So, yeah, and I am a student of a master who is in his 80s right now. So he's semi retired and teaching me Chinese medicine. So I'm definitely not going to be certified as a Chinese medicine practitioner. It's just more for my own consumption and also maybe some recommendation for clients to go and seek proper medical help. Okay. So I'm all for traditional and conventional medicine because whatever that they're all complementary as long as you feel that it helps you to alleviate your suffering. Okay, so why, well, my premise is, why should we be in pain or unnecessary pain or more pain than we, if we can afford to relieve the pain, why not? Okay, so there's this very common mentality that if I don't suffer enough, then I don't deserve to succeed. Okay, so which brings us to the topic of this life, which is Mercury in retrograde and also Saturn in retrograde this weekend. So, as I'm recording this, Saturn goes into retrograde, and some astrologers actually say that the effect is even more than Mercury. Okay, so yeah, so Saturn rules different planet, different areas in our life. Mercury rules different areas in our life. And just for the record, I am not an astrologist. Okay, I do use it as some, like guidelines, but I don't delve too much into it. So what do I do then? So just to answer that, okay, does the planetary movements really rule over our lives that strongly? Okay, so yes and no. For some people, it may be like a breeze, like there's not much effect. But for some others, it's actually like a lot of heavy energy and a lot of purging in the sense of like physical purging, where you either vomit or even, go to the toilet many times because of diarrhea or loose stools. And some even may cry a lot or just cry at the drop of the hat, without any apparent reason at all. But for most of us, we just feel like a deep sense of like, like maybe some delays, some heaviness in the heart, some heaviness, like heavy energy all around. But for some, it's just like nothing. It's just like any other day. So why is that? So just to give like a perspective, all of us are born. So when we were born, there were like so many other babies who are born at the same time, at the same moment, on the same date, and all that. Correct. So generally there is like a shared thing going on, like we share the same moment, we share the same hour, we share the same date. But does that mean that all of the babies will be named the same name, for example, Sue? So all the babies who are born on October the 2nd, when I was born, will be named Sue. Is that the case? I for one know of at least a few others, girls, okay, who were born on the same date as me, and also Asian, but they're definitely not named Sue. I know an Ashley, I know a Ching, I know a Ting, and I know so they are definitely not the same name, right? And does that mean that all of us will share the same fate because we share the same birth date? Okay, so I'm married, but I don't have children of my own. I adopted two kids. Okay, so then there's this Ashley that I know. Okay, so she is not married. She has no kids. Okay, she's still single. So do we share the same fate? No. And we weren't even born in the same hospital. Okay. So maybe if you are born in the same hospital and you were placed next to each other in the nursery and you may share the same fate, not really. Right? So each of us are destined to be born on a particular date with a particular path that we have to walk on. So if at that moment when the planetary goes into like the alignment happen in such a way that it aligns with your destiny, the path that you're walking on, and just so happen that something happens that make you plunge emotionally, okay, and that moment the energy from the planet come and hit you, you're more susceptible, you're more sensitive to this energy. Okay, so you may feel it doubly hard or even 1,000 times more compared to like in normal times when you don't really feel that effect. So does that mean that you are unlucky? Not necessarily, because this is actually amplifying whatever that you are feeling and what is going on in your life right now. So what you can do, okay, is to actually take a look at how you are responding to the situation in your life at that moment, and you feel in your heart like, what am I presented with? What can I do about it? Okay. And finally, if I do this, what's the consequences? If I don't do this, what's the consequences? And can I live with that? Then you choose differently. Okay. So for example, in the last Mercury retrograde, which just ended like a couple of days ago, what happened was in that for 3.5, 4 weeks, it was pretty intense for me because it was also the end of a cycle for me. Okay, so there were at least 3 or 4 cycles that were ending for me. Okay, so just to give you an example. So, so one of the 4 cycles that ended for me is actually it's like tying up loose ends to my relationship with a group. Okay, and I just felt like, I have just been hanging around and not exiting the WhatsApp group because it, I like the people there. I want to be in touch with the people there. Okay. So then in the past 1 month, just so happened that there's a small group of people within that WhatsApp group who felt the movement to leave the group, and they were sharing their experience with the rest of us. And we were made to really ask deep within ourselves, like in introspection, to see whether or not what they say is true and whether or not we resonate with whatever that is shared. So, long story short, I decided to stay. Okay, I decided to stay, but that does not mean that I break any ties with the group that left because they are all friends. Okay. So the end of the era is the end of dependence, the end of in the interdependence that I have to the group. Like before this, I may be very reliant and like whatever that the senior members or the older members or the leaders say, I will be very, I will be hanging on to every word. But now I'm like, the attachment is not as strong. And then the interdependence, the codependency is actually, not that's the word, codependence. So the codependency is actually less. Okay. And I observe that about myself, about how more autonomous I am and how more in alignment I am to my heart's true voice. So, like, and the heart's true voice is usually the soul's expression. So, these may be very big mumbo jumbo words for some of you, but what I basically mean is I say exactly what I mean and I feel at peace with myself. That's it. Okay. So all this happened during the Mercury retrograde, which was pretty intense. There were definitely some very, very deep stuff coming up. And it's all good. It's all good now. Now that everything is over, dust has settled. So I just feel that is fine. And it ain't so scary after all. Okay. So that is something that I like to share. So, and there were also some new connections that I made and some deeper connections. And there were also some old connections that just broke away, and there was no ceremony. Like, I don't stand on ceremony, they don't even stand on ceremony, it just drifted away. And I allowed them to drift away. Okay, because before this, I would, like, each time I feel like someone is drifting away from me, I would be the one who initiate the contact and try to revive that friendship or revive that relationship, or just touch base and say hi. But now I'm like, why should I be the only one who does that all the time? Okay. And when I decided to keep quiet and not be the first one to initiate that reconnection, I felt like I have so much more space for myself. And I felt more liberated and more energetic in a way. So it's like, wow. So it's not saying that the other party is wrong or not, but it's just saying that my own perspective of this, like, I was coming from a space of, I don't want to let the relationship die, so I must do all I can to salvage it. But if the other party is not pulling their own weight, they are also not reciprocating, at almost the same energy that I put out, then it's me who put out more, and I'm depleting myself. Okay, so I'm not saying the other party is wrong. Don't get me wrong. Okay, so I'm just saying that if I keep doing that, so imagine I'm holding all these strings of 100 connections, for example, and let's say half of them just drifted away, and I don't just let it be. Okay, so I want to, like, each time they drift away, if let's say on the frequency of once a month, then I have to go and, put my energy out there. But if it's not met, there's no equal in energy exchange, I will be depleted. I'm putting out a part of myself out there that is not being met. Okay, so everything is about energy. So when you put out yourself, okay, it's not saying that when I give, I want something in return. It is like, is it worthwhile? Is it worth your while? And is it worth it to reach out when you know that you are just throwing just another, how should I put it? It's like a futile effort. Okay, futile effort of something that has come to an end. Is like, let them just drift away. There's no need for you to even send a message to that person, because if they want to, they will reach out. And true enough, when I come from that space of sovereignty, and also I was very much at peace. Okay, so the key word here is to be at peace with your decision. Is not out of resentment, like, you have it, I am at a cold war with you, I don't want to send you a message, let's see if you win or I win, let's see who cave in a message first. Now, that is not what I'm talking about. That is coming from a space of resentment and revenge. Okay, what I'm talking about here is come from a space of freedom and peace, and you just say, I am open. Whenever you're ready to come back to form a connection with me, then I'm ready, I'm open. Okay, so true enough, those who matter, they really reach out. Like, people who usually will be quiet for a month or two, and suddenly they just reach out and just tell me updates about themselves. And then I was like, oh wow, I was like, this works. Like, I'm creating that space, that sacred space, and I'm just holding that space sacred without effort. It's very effortless, and it's a very calm and peaceful space where people who resonate will just come in. You are attracting your tribe, you're attracting your people, you're attracting your friends, your companions. Okay, people who are like-minded and vibrate the same or similar to you. So that is what I'm talking about. So yeah, so it's pretty interesting to see how when you change your mindset and you change your entire energy, your heart will follow, and then the vibe that you put out will be met with people who resonate. So, not saying that those who don't resonate with you is wrong. It's just that they're on a different path, and all of us are on different paths. Okay, so there are times when we come together, there are times when we part, and sometimes we may come back together again somewhere along the road in life. So there is no such thing like there is only one way or one path or only one person that we spend the rest of our life with, or only one BFF that we have. We can form deep connections along the way with different people who, resonate with us at different times, and it's perfectly fine to let people go, because they have their own path to walk on. They have their own calling to go to. Just because they left does not mean that you are abandoned. Okay, it's just that, hi, bye. Everyone needs to go home and take a shower and sleep. Okay, and you don't sleep with everyone, right? So that's how I look at it. So back to the question, does this energy have like these planetary alignments and all that? Do they really affect our life that much? Yes and no. So it depends on you individually, where you are right now in your life, and whether or not you believe in this thing. Some people, they really believe in all these things, so they really put a lot of emphasis, and they actually look at the hours that they can leave the house and all that. I'm not saying it's wrong. If it serves you, it's okay. But if it gets to the point of obsession and it paralyzes you, that and really restricts your movement, maybe it's time for you to reassess how much importance you put into these calculations, because all these are just calculations. Okay, so it's your choice, free will. So I feel that I have shared enough for my first YouTube live. Thank you for listening. Thank you for thank you for just watching me. Yeah, I use the handle Sue Lotus because if my second name actually means happy. Okay, but it also means lotus in another language. Okay, so lotus is very pure, very, just very smiley. So when you look at the lotus, you can never feel melancholic, like so beautiful. So yep, so that's why I use this for my YouTube, for my spiritual YouTube channel. Okay, you can also find me on the material world with my real name. Okay, my surname Su Tiong. But yeah, I am gravitating more towards spirituality and also healing and energy, and just basically being a human being. Okay, but on the side, I still do marketing and business and training and all that stuff. So yeah, Sue of all trades, master of none. Yep. So thank you for watching this, and until the next video, send you all my love. Take care. Bye.